witnesses. I think this issue about workers being able to return to work confident that they're going to be safe at work is vital, and I think that the state has a crucial role to play in it. So I have a number of questions to Dr. McGuinness from the HSA in relation to it. The first relates to that question about the 200. So I got a letter from Minister Humphreys on the 13th of May, which said that there have been 200 complaints about non-adherence to COVID-19 public health guidelines in work, and that there have been 0 physical inspections by the HSA of any of these. I have to say I found it astounding that you have over 200, and I take the point the doctor says, well, we addressed them, but I know, for example, at least 2 of those complaints came from me, and I wasn't told anything about what had happened. I know of other workers who complained who weren't told anything about what had happened. I mean, how can you have had over 200 complaints and not had any on-site inspections? How can that be explained?
Thank you, Deputy, if I may. Yeah. In relation to the numbers of complaints, as I said, our workplace contact unit receives quite a significant level of contacts, and contacts to us can be either queries or complaints. So just to be clear, since the 1st of March we have had over 3,735 different contacts to our workplace contact unit. The majority of those 3,188 refer to requests for information, so that's somebody just asking a question and we provide that. There were about 547 total complaints, of which, of those, roughly 288 to date have been about COVID, and we're still addressing a number of them, obviously, in the recent past. As I said before, a complaint to us, and it's the same process we continue to have, a complaint can be made. We have to assess it, we address it we track it, we refer to and discuss with the employer, and we follow up as appropriate with the employer, be it indirectly or through an inspection. We do keep everything confidential, both for the complainant and the employer as well, and we don't tend to go back and explain when and if we've done an inspection. That's not part of our general role. But what we do is ensure that everybody is addressed. I think the challenge had been, and I think the benefit of the protocol now, is that we've a clear framework, both from an employer and worker perspective, that they know what is expected from us as the regulator, and that will allow us now to take the appropriate action and steps.
So you're saying you didn't do the investigations, the on-site investigations, because there was no protocol in place?
What I'm saying is that the complaints, when we received them, have all been assessed, and it was determined that an on-site investigation was not materially required at the time.
And you mentioned a minute ago, I think, that around 80 inspections were done yesterday. Is that right? So how come there was 80 done yesterday and there was 0 done up until a week ago? I mean, how is that explainable? Surely that's some policy choice, that's some decision. How can it be all of a sudden you have a requirement to have 80 in a day, which I welcome, I suspect it's not enough, but up until last week you had 0 despite having complaints?
We have been concentrating, I suppose, in terms of inspections, they have been generally reactive on serious accidents and fatalities, and we've adhering with the protocol now and the economy reopening. We're now going back out and inspecting and enforcing where needed against the protocol.
I mean, it seems to me that suggests that there was a problem, that the complaints were not being treated appropriately previously, if you had 80 yesterday. But the other question I'd ask is that in early April, the HSA was advising workers and those who complained that the HSA, quote, did not have the powers to enforce the public health guidelines. The HSA said, no, we can't do anything about this. They said it to many people and repeatedly. Does the HSA now have the powers to enforce the public health guidelines, and did anything legally change to result in that?
I think that the protocol brought that together in a concept from under the Safety, Health and Welfare at Work Act. Previously, there were general guidance out there from a public health perspective done by our public health colleagues, and now in the protocol it's very clear how they can be managed and addressed by employers, workers and ourselves in line with the protocol.
So you are saying that the protocol was key in giving you the powers. You didn't previously have the powers and the protocol effectively gave you the powers.
The protocol has put it in a way that is enabling us to enforce and ensure compliance with a set of measures that workplaces can address. I think the challenge up until now has been a lot of advice and recommendations from a general concept, and now it's been put into an operational format for workplaces that we can now take forward. And workplaces understand and workers understand where their role and where their obligations also can be met.
Just finally, I mean, there are obviously many, many workers, hundreds of thousands of workers who were in work before this week and before the protocol. Are you saying if a protocol had been in place previously, the HSA would have been able to act more effectively and could have, for example, been doing on-site inspections before the last week?
As I said, the protocol now is very much focused on the reopening of the economy, and we have been engaging with all the different sectors and have been doing, as I said, primarily reactive inspections in that regard.
Thanks.
Dr. McGuinness, thank you.